Okay, today on the Business Blitz podcast, we're joined by Jason Pearl. Jason, can you give us a quick background on yourself, please?
Yeah, Colin, first of all, thanks for having me. My name is Jason Pearl. I'm the president and founder of a growth consulting agency called Nacre Consulting. Started that about 7.5 years ago. We focus on companies in the SMB post revenue up to about 25 to 50 million. We help them in a number of different ways through sales, marketing, customer experience design, and leadership. Love working with other businesses and people. And really what we do is we help people grow and we help people win. That's what we love to do.
Awesome. That's great. So I'm of the opinion that the information that we share and the lessons that we share with our viewers today are only as good as the person sharing them. So let's back up a little bit. Tell us about your journey kind of before you launch. Let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'm a product of two self-employed parents. And I think that's really important to share because being an entrepreneur is something that I kind of feel was built into my DNA. Both my parents in their early 20s started a company together, and they were entrepreneurs before it was even cool to say you're an entrepreneur, right? They were just small business owners. They were self-employed, and they're now in their mid 70s. They've ran and sold over 9 businesses together and separately. And, they were just a great example of actually how to live a life in entrepreneurship. So my parents were working remotely in the 80s, right? So very different than back then for what it is now. So my journey was that. But during college, my parents got divorced, sold the businesses, and then I was faced with trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. So I went corporate. I worked for Wells Fargo for 9.5 years, worked for HSBC, was headhunted to head up the growth of a privately held payroll company, which I did for 5.5 years, got some equity in, grew it from a few $1 million up to $9 million, and then took a exit from there, and then started my own consulting firm 7.5 years ago. And I did it because, quite honestly, I was ready to stop working for other people and control the destiny of what I wanted to do. I knew I could help businesses, and I didn't want to just help one. I wanted to help multiple, and that's how Nacre Consulting was born.
Awesome. Yeah, and that was kind of my next question. What inspired you to start your business? So that's really cool. It really just am I correct in saying your drive and your willingness to help people, but also you want to control your own destiny?
100%. I started it 7.5 years ago. I'd been thinking about doing something on my own for probably, a few years before that. But I was married, I had young kids, and I was quite honestly concerned about, can I provide and be the father and husband I need to be and still do something on my own? And 7.5 years ago, I said, enough's enough. I got to do this. If I don't do it now, I'll regret it when I'm 60, and I don't want to live with regrets. And it's been the best decision I've ever made.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So other than starting your business, making that decision to start, can you tell me about one pivotal moment that shaped who you are today?
Yeah, sure. As far as a pivotal moment, it has nothing to do with business. In my early 30s, I started to go through a fairly significant faith transformation that got me really more focused on who I am showing up to be as a husband and as a father, as an individual, who I dreamed to be as an adult. I just took a hard look and said, am I that guy? Am I that person that I thought I was going to be when I grew up? And I wasn't exactly who I wanted to be. And I started to make very significant changes, both in, my faith walk, and that shaped who I now am today as a middle-aged guy that's, helping businesses and being a good husband and being a good father and trying to show up for people around him.
That's awesome. I think that self-reflection process is something that a lot of people sometimes glance over. Mm-hmm. So it's refreshing to hear someone really taking action after reflecting there. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, what I would say, if I could jump in real quick, is it wasn't immediate. I should have probably self-reflected earlier than that. Right. And I was successful in the corporate world. I just focused very specifically only on climbing a ladder. And what I found is the more I focused on trying to have professional success, the harder it was, because there was other parts of my personal life that just wasn't going in the same direction. So I finally did a reset, and I think self-reflection is important.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. So let's get back to consulting. What is your unique selling proposition? And basically just why should clients choose you?
Sure. So There's two. Number one, I have been leading people, businesses, and teams since 2001. I was the youngest manager within Wells Fargo. I got hired at 22 years and 11 months old to manage a team of 12 people. So I have the experience, number one. But really what is most important, why I think I have a differentiating factor and our firm has a differentiating factor, is that we work with the people that are already inside the business. We still believe that people are the main competitive advantage of a business. And we go in and we work with the team that's already in place. So we don't say you have to bring in all these people. That may happen once we do our assessment and once we figure out the goals and how we can help a company scale. But we are working directly with the team that is already there to develop them first before we try to bring somebody in from the outside.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like so many people do often come in and just clean house. Correct. So it's nice to hear that. Yep. There's that reflection process when you first dive in.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I've got a fun one for you, but might bring back some bad memories. I want to hear about the worst business experience you've ever had.
So the worst business experience I ever had, and it turned out to be a blessing, but the worst experience I ever had is I got the promotion of my life in 2010 with Wells Fargo. I was promoted to be essentially a regional manager of 13 retail offices in New Jersey. So when I worked for Wells Fargo, I was in charge of scaling lending teams. And I got this big promotion. So moved my family from Rochester, New York to northern New Jersey. So right outside of New York City. It was one of the hotbeds for lending. This was like the promotion of my dreams, both in income and title and kind of where we were going. I lived remotely and lived in hotels for a few months as I was waiting for my home to sell in Rochester, and my wife and my oldest daughter were still in Rochester at the time. And I was living in hotels. We moved into our home, our new home in New Jersey in July 4th weekend. We went out and we celebrated our new life in New Jersey. And 48 hours later, I woke up to a phone call from my previous boss saying that the division of Wells Fargo I worked for was closing, and could I get my house back in Rochester because all of the division of Wells Fargo I was working with was going to be molding into the retail bank, and I was likely going to lose my job. So wow. I woke up, told my wife that I think this is happening. She was kind of like, "Are you crazy? Like, we just moved here." And I just unpacked the kitchen boxes yesterday. And I said, well, I have a conference call tomorrow at noon, and we're going to find out what our fate is. And what ended up happening is they closed the branches. I was able to work for 6 months remotely, close down all the branches. And then they offered me a position to move west out to Texas. Didn't want to do that. So then they gave me a severance package. And that's how I got back to Western New York, where I was born and raised and lived.
Wow. That is a roller coaster.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess it led you to where you are today, right? And
yep.
I'm sure you're better off.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have a hiring question for you. Sure. What do you look for in an employee? Maybe like one or two most important characteristics.
I would say first and foremost is character, and second is drive and grit. And I know drive and grit could be considered two different things, but I am a type of person that appreciates a bias to action, even if that bias to action is not the right thing. I appreciate the can-do attitude to go and do it. We live in a world where anyone can go online, anyone can go on AI, and they can find all the information they want. We're on information overload. But what information doesn't do is it doesn't make you take action. That happens internally. So character one and action two, those are the things that I look for. And when I look at resumes or I talk to people in interviews, that's what I try to key in on and try to understand who they are as an individual. And those are the two things I look for very specifically in leaders.
Got it. Yeah, those are super powerful. Basically two of my core values for my startup. So definitely I resonate with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I want to hear about the best investment you've made in your career so far. Can be fine. I'd like to keep it financial, but it could be, I guess, stock market, could be in yourself and your business. I'd like to hear about your best investment.
The best investment I've made, there's two I'm thinking of. The first one I would think of is when I started my own company 7.5 years ago. I took a $40,000 loan from my 401k to give me enough time to make it a success. And within the first 3 months, I was able to start paying back a lot of what I had already borrowed. But I needed mentally to create a runway that kept me focused on building my business, but also didn't get me distracted about how I needed to take care of my family. So people say you're crazy, you shouldn't take from your 401k. I was following my dreams, and there was nobody that was going to stop me. And that $40,000 helped me pave the way.
That's awesome. Yeah. Leap of faith sometimes can pay off.
That's right.
Okay. For listeners that have a business right now and they're kind of in the scale up phase, what is one tip you have for people that want to get their business to the next level?
You have to create processes and systems. It's mandatory. I am a growth consultant, so everyone thinks the vanity metrics that I look at are just like sales growth going up and to the right. Certainly we like that, but if you don't have the foundation of your company built in all of your go-to-market, so from marketing and how you want to attract customers to how you're in sales, how you're working potential customers through the pipeline to get a yes or a no, and then how you're implementing and onboarding those customers onto your platform or your business, however that works. If you don't have those systems and those expectations built along those lines, your company will fail. And what you'll do is you'll get a terrible reputation and you'll burn through a ton of leads, and they'll be very difficult to come back from. So many are attracted to the vanity metrics of, oh, I had a $250,000 sale day, or I just brought on all of these clients. And I'll say, that is awesome. What are you doing to retain them? What are you doing to make sure their experience is going well? So systems and processes is what is going to make businesses scale, hands down, every time.
Yeah, totally agree. I've had the same experience in my entrepreneurial career so far as well. Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. Okay, last question here and we'll wrap up. What is one goal you're currently focused on achieving?
One goal that I'm really focused on achieving right now is we have a new product line within Nacre Consulting. It's a service product, and it's a customer experience design product where we are working with businesses to map out their customer experience process, customer journey mapping, empathy mapping, and then creating a blueprint of what they need to do in all of the moments that matter throughout their customer journey. So most will say, oh, you just focus on sales and leads and all these things. We focus on the entire go-to-market, including leadership. But this customer experience design is this product is something we're really excited about. Every business could use and every business needs. And we're building the structure within our business right now. We're working with 5 clients through it right now. And I'm really looking to build that out for the future.
That's tremendous. Really, really sounds exciting. Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for showing up to the Business Blitz podcast today. If anyone needs growth consulting, Jason Pearl is your guy. We'll have some links below. Thanks for coming on, Jason.
Appreciate you having me, Colin. Take care.
All right.